Okay, today's part 5. We're going to look at the code and see if there is heresy or if the machine god is pleased with it. I'm wearing an appropriate shirt for this situation as a member of the Inquisition. On this wonderful day, April 1st, I will judge this code worthy or not. Let's look at this file, which was changed very quickly, which became famous because of the author is Elon variable. So this is not the current file. Somebody else copied this algorithm, and we have authors Elon, authors power user, Democrat, Republican, which I've made several dank memes about. A lot of people initially said, okay, this is bad, this is a total proof of bias. Then you had the second tier of takes, which is, wait a second, this is not that. It's not used in the algorithm, it's used in the A/B test as a debug. It's just for the A/B test. And then there's, my take, which is the correct take, is that A/B tests are very important. They are the final loop of optimization. They are what decide what the algorithm does. And they're deciding between two algorithms which one will be taken and which one will be not taken, left behind. So having something like author is Elon is likely a consequence of some poor employee being terrified of being fired. And if they change the algorithm wrongly, so they would A/B test big changes to see if it affected Elon's engagement negatively. This is not good because it kind of effectively forces all algorithm changes to increase Elon's engagement, which may not be in the best interest of Twitter or actually even Elon in the future. So I think they removed it. This is the current one. I think it's good that they removed it. I don't think this was like foul play of any kind, but it is worth taking a quick look at this file. Again, it's a home tweet type predicates. So this looks like debug information, which was used for A/B tests or other things. It's worth seeing what is meant to be legible for people. There's obvious like reply, image, video link, quote, protected. And then there's things which is random tweet. I don't know what this is at all. What does random mean in this context? Viewer is employee. This probably is very importantly internal so that employees don't alter A/B tests somehow. Is recommended topic tweet, is following topic tweet. So let's see, is the following recommended topics working correctly? Has greater than 10, 100, or 1K favorites. Okay, greater than 10K. Above neighbors topic tweet. So this is things that are people look into. Has US political annotation. This is interesting. So basically, this is something they're tracking of like how do these tweets perform? Like, are they doing well? Are they doing poorly? So this is legible to them. Have toxicity by threshold? Sure. Image only? Okay. Has followed by social context? Has topic social context? Okay. I would remove this as well. Like, if this is, maybe the government forced them to put it in, so they can't remove it. But this like legibility thing is probably worth only looking at things like, greater than 10, greater than 100, greater than 1K. That's things that are supposed to be debug features, not features like US political annotation. But otherwise, this file doesn't seem too bad to me. Okay. Now, we're going to go through some of the files mentioned on Twitter by several people who roughly in the order where I think they are in the pipeline. So if we look at the Twitter algorithm blog, so the real graph here is kind of earlier in the pipeline, and it's early in the blog as well, and then PageRank is downstream from real graph, as the real graph paper said. So let's look at one of these files. Particularly, people talked about interaction graph negative job. So this is about negative interactions. You have blocks, mutes, abuse reports, spam reports, unfollows. We only keep unfollows in the past 90 days due to the huge size of the dataset. Reasonable? And to prevent permanent shadow banning in event of accidental unfollows. We treat unfollows less critical than the above 4 negative signals. That's fair, since it deals more with interest than health. Okay. This comment is correct. However, this comment is pointing me to the fact that these are kind of important. Some people have pointed to this file as proof that you can destroy an account using a bunch of spam reports or abuse reports. So I don't know if that's true. This is supposed to be part of PageRank or personalized PageRank. So I'm going to give a big if statement. I'm going to be very charitable to the Twitter developers here. If they've done PageRank correctly, if they've done personalized PageRank correctly, which is a much harder job than the first one, this should just work well without being destroyed by bots. So why is that? PageRank is meant to be around status. So sure, maybe they compute status imperfectly and they bias towards highly active users. But within those highly active users, if the personalization of PageRank is working correctly, this should only matter if people in your network are blocking or spam reporting or muting you. So people who you follow, then people who follow those people, and then everybody who has kind of a high rank within your community. If they're blocking you, then maybe the PageRank situation is, downvoting you. And so, but if the bots are blocking you, maybe their PageRank is low, and so it doesn't matter. This is all with a giant caveat that the PageRank is implemented correctly, which I don't know if it is. I would have to look at the other parts of the code. There's also the problem, which I've alluded to multiple times, that what is the probability you will interact with another user in the future is the wrong question to ask. And I still can't quite get if they're capable of avoiding polluting their own training data for their real graph. So what do you mean by polluting their training data? Is that effectively what it could be happening is there's a ranking system on day 1, day 2, and every interaction is really driven by this ranking system. And then you train a new ranking system to predict interactions of the first ranking system, whatever, from day 1 to day 2. So, like, this is down before the PageRank. This is kind of this side of like. So instead of training some new information, you're basically trying to relearn your old ranking system. So the ranking system has a lot of difficulty changing, even if information is new, because you've had this self-referential problem. This can be solved. This is not actually that hard to solve, but you have to ask the right questions and frame the problem in the right conditional probabilities. they don't talk about this at all. So I don't know if they don't understand this or they solve this and somehow it's not here. So I don't know if they are aware that this can just pollute their training data. This can make a lot of the machine learning compute they're using useless or wasted. So what I'm saying is that assuming that everything is working correctly is a big assumption, given a lot of these upstream philosophical problems. But this part might work if they ask the right conditional probability question and that the personalized PageRank is computed correctly. In that case, bots should not be able to take advantage of this. Okay, next thing. This is one of the PageRank things. We have an adjust reputation post calculation, which takes 3 parameters: mass, num followers, and num followings. This method reduces PageRank of users who have a low number of followers and a high number of followings. Okay. So, let's see. We're going to look at this function more in detail. Okay. So, first of all, the threshold is very high. If you follow more than 2,500 people, then they're going to bump you down. This function is a little hard to parse, but basically they'll bump you down. This maxes means they'll bump you down. So at best situation, you will be bumped down by a factor of 1, so not bumped at all. And then this mean max, the maximum bump you down is times 50, which is probably a very large factor. And then there is basically like a double log of how many you follow, and then a 3 times the ratio here. So it's mostly related to kind of your ratio. So if you have twice as many friends to followers, then this is 3, then 2 minus 1.6, so round it to 1.5, and then so that's going to be like 4.5 times this log, which is a pretty small log. But yeah, so you'll be bumped down by some factor. So this doesn't seem very good. Like you're discouraging. Like, okay, so the original PageRank on Google already had a built-in decrease for websites which had a lot of outbound links, which in this case would be a lot of outbound followers. I don't know if they actually have this particular feature already in the PageRank, and this is on top of it, or if this is the only one that bumps it down. In either way, I think this is a little strange to discourage people following. It's like, if you want people to be well versed in many networks, they might want to follow lots of people, and then they might want to tone down the out-of-network tweets that you're giving them a lot. Maybe this already happens if you follow a lot of people, I don't know. But it seems strange to discourage this, although this is a pretty large number of people you might follow. So yeah, it's probably worth removing or bumping this up to a significantly higher number, maybe 25,000, maybe 250,000 is more reasonable. But yeah, people have found that this is a thing. Okay. So now we get into this question of how much is a like worth in terms of retweets, in terms of replies, in terms of that kind of thing. And there's an interesting problem that in different parts of this system, like versus retweet versus reply are going to have different weights. So in heavy rank, I've mentioned, like is very low compared to reply, both like and retweet. But in the previous rankers, it might be higher. So it's hard to wrap your hand around that like has a consistent ratio to retweets or to replies in terms of its weight. So basically, you can think of this as like a gate. You know, in the first gate, the guard asks you how many likes you got. And then if you pass the number of likes, then it allows you to the second gate. And the second gate, the guard asks you how many retweets you got or how many replies. So it's like these gates, and they don't really have a consistent kind of utility function across all gates. Basically, if you want to pass all the gates, you want to have all likes and retweets and replies. It seems to me. But let's look at the code a little bit more. So this is kind of the early bird light rank. They're retiring this, so this may not matter at all, but it is worth taking a look at what is kind of like a thing that Twitter used to think about. Network tweets and out-of-network tweets. Okay, search context features. This is kind of weird because this looks like a static features, real-time features. This is also a weird name. Like they use terminology from search in a way that's confusing. Like, oh, I see. This is indexing time, and real-time features change every time, so you need to get them again. Okay. Okay. The scoring uses tweet as a retweet. Tweet contains a link. This is already kind of weird. Like, why should it matter that much if tweet contains a link? Like, is this a penalty? Is this a boost? Like, Twitter needs to decide if it is a destination or an airport, a portal, right? So if you want to be a destination, then you want to penalize on the links and tell the users you're doing this. If you're a portal, you want to optimize all the links. You can be both, in which case you are agnostic to this. But you have three choices. You either consistently penalize links, consistently encourage links, or do nothing. If you're inconsistent, it's probably bad. You're probably confused about what you are and what you want to be, and you can improve on one of the directions in a pretty optimal way. So, whether the tweet has an entrenched boards or just in time. Yeah, why would you do this? Like, you're not a search engine, you are a social media network. Like this is a thing that you can do for if you're ranking tweets based on a query in your search results, but if this is meant to be like a newsfeed thing, like why you care about trends? Like, are you encouraging trends? Are you discouraging trends? Like, this is strange. Whether is a reply, sure. A score for static quality of the text. I'm guessing this is going to be heresy. It's the same thing as here, but kind of sure, if you have offensive words, look, if you have mildly offensive words, or you have mild levels of anger, I can see some benefit of downgrading the thing. But content entropy, I don't think they know what they're doing here. I don't think they understand what the implications of putting this into a social media algorithm are at all. Tweet graph, this is kind of the PageRank thing, which PageRank itself is a good idea. I don't know if it's implemented correctly. Real-time features, tweet selector tweets, sure. So, like, this alone is telling me it's good they're retiring this. But okay, let's look at it. Okay, relevance search utils. So a lot of you will point to this file, or similar files to it, to say that, okay, we know exactly what the parameters are. So first of all, this function is strange. It's Thrift scoring function type TensorFlow based. So this might not be very linear at all in any sense of the word. And then they also have parameters which are all positive numbers, but also some of them are negative, like offensive boost is 0.1. So it's unclear to me that whether this is you get 20 retweets, 20 times your retweets is your weights that you get added, and then how many replies you get is 1 times the replies, or if this is like, if you have lots of retweets, then your score gets increased 20 times. Because what is the 0.1? Are you decreasing the tweet score by a factor of 10? Or are you adding 0.1 times a small negative number because it's offensive? So it's unclear this is a linear combination, an exponential combination, or some sort of TensorFlow neural network combination, which is kind of a quasi-linear. So I mean, it says linear feature ranking. So it sounds linear, but I don't know what this means. So it could be that they're also mixed. It could be that these are all linear, and then these are non-linear. These are multipliers. So I'm going to assume my last guess is what's the case. So what do we have? Here we have favorite counts, retweet counts, and replies. So favorite and retweets are counted way above everything else. Sure thing. Then text score and Lucene score. Lucene is probably similar to text score, just computed by like a Lucene index of some kind. Then you have small English UI boost. There's boost for tweet UI boost, default boost, unknown language boost. So that sounds like a penalty, offensive boost, penalty. Interested circle boost. Okay. This is probably a personalized thing. It's probably not a, okay, trusted circle sounds good. Multiple hashtags or trends boost. This one is funny. It's like, if you have a hashtag, they might boost you, but if you tweet has trend boost, if they have one trend, then they might boost you. But if they have multiple trends, then they'll deboost you. So they're forcing you to only have one hashtag. They're like, we're tired of hashtags, it's a bad feature. This is just so haphazard. Okay. Indirect follow boost, they're great. Finally, we're doing what the user wants. This is this is indirect follow. What the hell is an indirect follow? Is this saying that somebody's following somebody, or is this somebody's like sort of following somebody because they're both following each other? Okay. Self-tweet boost. Okay, Twitter has image URL boost, so you got some good boosts for image and video. Which is like, why? Why do you have a boost for tweet, image and video? I mean, I know video is amazing and stuff, but is this really necessary? Okay. Why can't you just be agnostic to what people are using in your, maybe, if anything, you should be more careful with how people use space on your site. If anything, larger images should get penalized, or larger tweets should get penalized because they take up more screen time. If you want to spend undergrad user minutes, and the users spend some amount of time scrolling through the same amount of screen, then you want to improve your tweet quality per word, per screen moment. So, it's an idea. But even that is a questionable idea. But I wouldn't go the other way. I wouldn't go this tweet is long and has lots of images, and it's hard to scroll through, and therefore we boost it. No. Respect users' time. Twitter is for short things. This is not Tumblr. This is not Facebook. It's not Substack. Other sites can do these things. Okay. So, next thing in the spam vector scoring function. Okay, so they are saying that, like, removing the slide rank, but just because they're removing doesn't mean every function is going to disappear. So some functions might make their way into the other next thing rank. So this is an interesting function. It's basically trying to figure out something is spammy or not. The fact that this is a function and not like a Bayesian network is already sketchy. This is way too simple to fight spam. Spam is a complicated concept. Like, email can't fight spam, and email's only job is fighting spam. That's their one job, and they can't do it. You can't do this with this function. Right? So no wonder you have to use, Twitter blue boosts to fight spam. Like, what are you trying to do here? Okay. Mean tweet encrypted with link. Okay. So basically saying, like, if you don't have enough page rank. Also, this is not personalized page rank. This is likely global page rank. If you don't have enough global page rank, which might be pretty hard to get actually, don't put non-whitelisted link. This is so many conditions. Also, what is a whitelisted link? Like, top sites, top media sites. If it's top media sites, this should not be top media sites. Like, sure, you can maybe put whitelisted links at the top 100 sites on the internet, but if you're going like only news media is whitelisted, this is probably bad. Engagements no filter, this is 1. This is also a strange number. Here's where it's used. If retweet count, reply count, or favorite count is greater than the engagement no filter, it's not a spam. This if condition feels like it makes the whole function useless unless I misunderstand something. Like, what is this the actual count of retweets, or is this some, like, why is this a double? So I don't know what this is doing. Like, initially when I looked at this code, it looked like it's initial count of retweets, but this is a double, not an int. So it's probably some normalized retweet count. So I don't know what it's normalized by. I don't know what exactly it's doing. Initial code looked like it just, if it has 1 like, it's not spam, which is useless. But this can be difficult in other ways. Okay, so let's look at other things. From verified account flag. Okay, great, not spam. That's right. That's right. I paid my $8. I'm not spam. Very good. If it has link and not image, not video, not news. Oh my God, yes. Okay, Twitter. Are you a portal or are you a destination? If you are a portal, don't do this. If you are a destination, don't do this part. Like, remove the has news URL flag. Like, if you want to be an everything app, you're not a news, like, feeder, right? Maybe you call it a news feed, but there's no reason to treat this as a, like, first-class citizen on your network. Okay, user reputation, threshold. For new user, Twitter said, so if the user is completely new, so that they don't have page rank, they're not spam. This is a massive hack. Like, why? New users are more likely to be spam. But your user experience is probably so crap because of this function that nobody's going to follow you at all, that they hard code this not spam score. Okay. Okay. I want to be sad. And they still released this, and nobody fixed this before the release. Or I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, maybe they want people like me to fix it for free, which I'm doing, whatever. Okay, so this function is just, I don't know. This function is like worse than useless in some ways. It's highly penalizing links, except they're not news links, for kind of newish users, not completely new, but newish users. So it's also like based on this retweet count. So a dedicated spammer looking at this function can beat it very easily. All you do is to have all your bots like each other, right? And then, because this is the absolute count, this is not a page ranked count. So a bot can actually easily beat this than a new user. This is like literally the wrong direction from a dedicated spammer function. So this is complete crap. I don't know if they're going to replace it fully or if they could keep some of these, but this is bad. Okay. I'm going to take a look at the tweet text scorer. It's time to pull out my Inquisitor hat. This is not a large score in the network, in the LightRanker, but this is very strange. Okay, defer foresive tone damping, length weight. Length is probably the most okay function here. Readability, shout, I don't know what shout is, I don't know what entropy is. Default link weight, okay, links are penalized here, although I don't know if this is a big penalty or not. No damping, readability, entropy, length output. It's very hard to tell what this is doing. This is kind of more collecting features than, there's also normalization, check weight range, get score histogram. So there's a lot of other functions it relies on, so we're going to have to try to really intuit what it's doing. And it's rating the text itself, which is like, why? We're using entropy. Like it's unclear which direction this is even going. Like, is this like, do you want to be new compared to everyone else? Are you increasing novelty or are you decreasing it? I'm not saying either one is good, but it's more of a like, you're taking a very deep philosophical stance on the nature of memetics and egregores with this function. I mean, they're not doing this, they're effectively doing it, but I don't think they understand what they're doing. This is like me, an Inquisitor, coming to, a planet, and they've opened a small portal to hell, to the warp. And like, well, no demons have spilled out of here yet. There's no demons here that we see. And I'm like, why did you open this portal? Do you understand what you're doing? Do you understand what you're wielding? Do you understand the effect on society this number has? Like, are you downgrading things that are trending? Or are you upgrading things that are trending? Do you want to make things trend faster or slower than a particular default? I think the answer should be neither. I think you should be pretty agnostic to the text, unless it's, sure, you can remove offensiveness. Or if something is too long, you can downgrade the length, which is an interesting question in itself of like, how do you treat length? But having anything fancy like this is sketchy. Like, you're dealing with memetic forces you don't understand, basically. But, oh well, this is like Twitter's whole MO, I guess. Okay, we're going to come back quickly to HeavyRanker. Again, so a reminder, the LightRanker sits like kind of before the HeavyRanker, but they're removing it. HeavyRanker seems like it's staying. So, again, LightRanker basically says retweets and likes are pretty high, much higher than replies. This one says reply engaged by author is very high. I don't know why this inconsistency. I don't like. sure, maybe two wrongs make a right in some ways, and like you effectively have both rakers combined to have a gate which has tweets with lots of engagement of all kinds. It's less coherent than a single raker, and I don't like it for that reason. It's less clear what like is actually worth. Or it's worth a certain amount at a certain point, then it has to be less worth. So if that's the case, you still want to have a single raker with a coherent function that you can understand. Okay, so then we have kind of these home mixers. Home mixer seems to be a post-heavy ranker situation. They don't have it here, but I'm going to assume it's in the kind of home. Yeah, mixing is probably here. So, and then home mixer has a lot of things that, oh sorry, this is the wrong one. This is a debug function. I want to look at the blue verified author in network multiply param. Global home params. So people found, okay, blue verified author, you get a default boost of 4, I guess double as good as before. Blue verified author out of network, boost of 2, sure. You got it, you pay, you get to play. I mean, I think this is fine. You're trying to fight bots. There's better ways to fight bots than this, but this is a solution to a problem that is good enough for now. It's good that you don't have like tiers of like, okay, if you pay $100 more, then you get a bigger boost. Elon doesn't want that. You get one-time fee, you play a little bit more, and that's fine. Okay, now I'm going to look at the other boosts. Max number replace instructions per hour. I don't know what this is at all. This is strangely named. Persistent store max entries per client. This looks like an efficiency question. Yeah, not much. So this is, the blue boost is done on the home mixer, which is kind of the last mixer. It's interesting. So you still have to get through all the other gates, and then at the end you get a boost. Okay, there's other ways to do it, but okay. Okay, so this is product mixer. Oh yeah, somebody mentioned that there's a government requested thing in the product mixer. Is that clear what the product mixer sets? I assume it's close to the home mixer. Get the latest, stay informed, misleading, okay. This is probably very biased towards certain groups and parties. That's hard to tell from just the names. Okay. Visibility lib. Visibility, they made it sound like this is basically a final check of if you block somebody or mute somebody, you shouldn't see their stuff on the timeline. But it seems like in reality, this is kind of a bigger thing. So, tweet safety label. Oh boy, this one. So we got a lot of like abusive behavior insults, malware threats. Okay, so assume this is all stuff that's you don't want to see. Spammy, reported, toxicity. No safe word card image. Okay, we don't. I assume this is what we don't want. Spam high recall. Hateful conduct slur, high severity, medium severity, low severity. Okay, I want to see those lists. Is learning to code a low severity slur, or is that a high severity slur? Telling a journalist to learn to code. Okay, we have a lot of deprecated things. Oh, Brazilian political tweet deprecated. Okay, so seems like Twitter wanted to have an impact in the Brazilian political election, which is, okay, it's their private company, they can do whatever they want. That is a joke, by the way, for legal reasons. It's April 1st. I'm allowed to make jokes. Misinfo COVID-19 vaccine. deprecated. So this is like the repository of the current thing right here. So the current thing is passed. So times when somebody said, okay, my God, my father died 20 minutes after receiving a COVID vaccine. He felt his heart, he had a heart attack. So this is what this is meant to be, blocking from people's views. Misinfo French election, Philippine election. Ooh, Philippine election. I didn't know that was this. So this is a thing that people worried about, but I guess this was a current thing at some point. Okay, yes, we've got a lot of stuff that just, safety label types. Project Libra. Is this a Facebook thing? I vaguely remember what Project Libra is. Wait. What? Libra cryptocurrency. Okay. Did they not want Facebook people to know about this project, or do they want to avoid people talking badly about it? I don't know. But it's no longer a current thing, so. All right, oh yeah, we're going to search for Ukraine. There is a couple here. So this is like safe space to label type from the visibility. So we're going to trust URL, civic misinfo, medical misinfo, generic misinfo, hateful high recall. Just as a point of code quality, this is not what we would call quality code. This is not what we would call code quality. So because your notion of a high recall versus precision should be a separate concern from the notion of the subject itself. And then you also have things that are mixed, like medical misinfo and generic misinfo, also should be subclasses of each other of some kind. Or basically, the fact that these are mixed together is like hackiness of the code itself. But maybe that's by design. DMCA withheld versus medical misinfo. Civic integrity misinfo. Like this visibility model, it does a lot more than the blog said it did. So this is kind of a, what did it say here? Filter out tweets based on the content, your preferences, and the preferences of the state. This is what it's doing. So, Twitter, of course, is an arm of the state, and therefore they can do whatever they want. They're also a private company, which means they can do whatever they want. So, for instance, remove people from accounts you block or mute, or the state blocks or mute. So, yeah, this is the question for Elon of what do you want to do with the fact that you're both a private company and the state wants to control you? I don't know. If you had much better code, my statement would be to basically give every government a censorship tool where your developers don't have to get involved. But that violates free speech very badly in most people's eyes. So instead of this tool, you have an ad hoc system for violating free speech under the hood. So effectively, America does not have a coherent way to even think about free speech in the algorithm setting. But this visibility stuff is likely affecting things a lot. Okay, so these are kind of various. This follow recommendation service, this is close to the last thing, I think, and in terms of where in the pipeline it is. Okay, follow recommendation service. Oh yes, election candidate fetcher. So it seems like it relatable accounts fetcher, cosine follow fetcher. Like, why are these all? Why are these like combined together? Like some of these are mathematical functions which are kind of statements about similarity, cosine list feature, and some of these are types of people, like election candidates who are specifically promoted. I mean, if you want to promote people, like also, is this like helping candidates for free? Like, is this legal? I'm not a lawyer. I don't ask these kind of questions. Maybe just ask the question, but I don't want to have an opinion on this. But like, is giving, like, if you're giving both candidates equal amounts of additional follow recommendations, then maybe that's okay, maybe not. But if you're giving only one candidate, or you've blocked one candidate for a different reason, and then you're giving all candidates you haven't blocked, what's going on here? This will never be resolved. It's not a thing Twitter can easily fix. Okay, I wanted to do a quick search for COVID-19, see what we have here. The search function didn't find some of the other stuff I found before, but it's like it needs to be part of the word. So you have this kind of funny India COVID-19 QA accounts. What the fuck? I think WTF means something else in this context, but the fact that there is the misinfo COVID-19 deprecated. It's no longer the current thing. India COVID-19 specifically is hella sketch. What's going on, guys? I mean, sure, you're an international company to obey with different laws, but like maybe have a legal, service which concentrates all law obedience systems into one service, and then other services can call this service and see what the laws are. Okay. This is a follow recommendation service, so I don't know if this is like forced by India or they have some grudge against India. What's going on? Okay, so there is also the search function. So, oh yes, this is another function with a lot of numbers here. Let's see. Language image UI boost, language tweet boost, language default boost, spam user boost. Let's say for what? I'm not sure why this would be boosted. Like the word boost implies it's higher, but this number is 1. Why is this 1 and then UI boost is like, is this, do we need to reverse these? It's hard to tell like what the functions that these numbers fit into are, what their linearity is. Okay, this is very low, so this probably means it's a negative. Deprecated topic, enable hit. Direct follow boost, which has trend boost. From verified account, self tweet boost. Multiple hashtag. So why are these all 1? Are these all like, are these default values which get removed when they are used? So tweet has trend boost. I see, interesting. So these values basically don't matter. It's bad coding practice, but it looks like they're, oh, maybe they do matter. Maybe this is they get overwritten elsewhere. So this is spaghetti code. So it's unclear if these functions, if these numbers matter at all. This is a search thing, so Twitter search is notoriously bad. It's not that hard to make a good search if you control the entire index. Yes, you have tons of tweets, but it seems easily doable. like searching is a place where you would use machine learning more than like hard-coded functions. Bing and Google obviously use machine learning for their search engines. While in ranking your social media, I would argue machine learning it's easy to overuse it. Because you don't actually know what you're doing. Okay, CR mixer. So let's see. Okay, so this is repeated code from some other early bot mixers. So yeah. So what is CR mixer exactly? Okay, so this is repeated code from light ranking. So I don't know if this is being deprecated. So if light ranking is deprecated, I don't know if this part is also getting destroyed. So these kind of strange linear feature weights might survive. Again, whenever you see some function like this, how these weights decided. They're decided likely by A/B tests. How A/B tests scored. This is the question that I don't know. I mean, I'm going to keep asking until I get the answer. Elon coughs up the A/B test criteria. But it's hard to know what the optimization direction of this is on society without the A/B test criteria. Like, this is, okay, retweets and favorites counts for a lot, and the text score don't count for much, it seems like, which is good. I think text score is playing with fire. Replies don't count for much, which here is strange. In the heavy ranker, they count for too much. Here, I would say they count for too little. So why is reply? I don't know what this is doing. And then, why are you boosting trends more? Like, is it wrong for society not to talk about the same thing? Like, maybe it's okay for multiple groups of people to talk about different things on your site. Like, not everybody has to think of a trend. So, boosting trends, I think, is this could create the notion of a current thing. And the current thinginess of society is potentially negative. This could be decreasing mental health because you feel swayed to only talk about the current thing. I think this is actually pretty bad. Especially because you now deep boost things that have multiple trends. So if you want to have two current things and talk about them at the same time, then you can't do that. You can only talk about the one current thing. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, the code is the code leaves me less impressed than the intention of the code. There's a lot of ad hoc things. There's a lot of kind of political topic-related things in the visibility code. So, you have mixing cosine similarity and Ukraine topic, and it's bad from coding practice, and I think it's bad from understandability practice, and it's probably, if you keep this in here, it's probably going to have people lose trust in the network. I mean, people have gained some trust since Elon took over and open source this, and this is good. And they gained some trust since you probably stopped censoring people a ton. But, a lot of political stuff is sketchy if you're reading the text too much. And then this stuff, which is not political, but this is just unprincipled questions, like why these numbers here and why these different numbers in heavy rank. I think I don't worry as much about the retweet, reply, favorite params. Like, okay, maybe you remove the heavy ranker, maybe you only rely on this, and suddenly favorite counts and retweet counts are your main thing people want to optimize for. Something of the world. This, however, is very strange to me of why you're boosting trends to be trends. Let people talk about what they want to talk about. Don't put social pressure to talk about only the trend. Not everybody needs to have an opinion on, airplane safety, on train derailment. People complain that, this is the question of incentives. If people complain, suddenly everybody on Twitter is now an expert in monetary policy or train derailment or AI, and the incentives are for you to talk about the trend. If you don't talk about the trend, then you're losing followers. So, give people a way to show their expertise on things that they do know. Don't force trend generalists. Don't force everybody to be a generalist, to talk about every trend all the time. I mean, maybe this factor is not as big as I'm imagining it compared to what other things, but it seems strange. Okay, that's it for today.